everyone! Desserts are my favorite part of the meal. As we count down to Christmas, I'm going to show you 2 incredible desserts that are going to be at my table this holiday season. They are both easy and can be prepared ahead of time. So let's get started. We're now going to be making a creme brulee. This is a dessert made up of 2 very different textures. The bottom layer being a rich custard and it topped with a hardened caramel. We're now going to be using 6 egg yolks, and to that we're going to add half cup of sugar and 1.5 teaspoon of vanilla extract. We're now going to whisk this till it's nice and pale. Stir nice and pale. Now we're going to keep it aside and we're going to warm up 2 cups of whipping cream. That's 35% fat content, and we're going to bring it to a slight simmer. I've kept my oven to preheat at 300 degrees and the cream is on the stove. It's on a medium heat and I'm going to leave it on the heat till I can see a few bubbles coming around. We're going to mix the cream now into the egg mixture, but we're going to do this very slowly because we're going to first have to temper the eggs, otherwise we're going to have scrambled eggs. So I'm just putting a little first and going to whisk it up fast. I'm going to add a little more and give it a good whisk. And now with a steady stream, I'm going to incorporate all the cream with the egg. We now have our custard base ready, and I poured it into a pouring jug so that it's easy to pour it into the ramekins, which I have laid in a deep dish baking tray. We're now going to place this in the oven for about 30 to 35 minutes, and we're going to put in some hot water so that it's in a water bath in the oven. We're going to pour the water till it's halfway up the ramekins. I took them out of the oven after 30 minutes and I put them on a wire rack so that they can cool and come to room temperature. I'm then going to put them into the refrigerator. You should refrigerate them at least for 2 hours, but I would suggest overnight to be the best. We're going to decorate the creme brulee with some caramelized hazelnuts. For that, I put some sugar on the stove and let it melt till it caramelized. And now I pierced each hazelnut with a toothpick and I'm going to immerse it into the caramel, which has cooled a little bit, and give it a good roll and then let it drip. This I'm going to allow it now to dry, and that's how you get this beautiful looking hazelnut. We're now going to sprinkle the custard with some sugar and then torch it so that we get that classic creme brulee texture. So I'm taking 1 tablespoon of sugar and going to sprinkle it all over the surface, trying to be as even as we can. And now holding the torch overhead, I'm going to torch it. I'm going to use some of the remaining caramel to now place these on the creme brulee so that we can decorate it nicely. We're going to put 3 on each one. And there we have it, our creme brulee all decorated. Now we're going to start with our Let It Snow Bailey's white chocolate mousse. We're going to start by making our snowflakes, which we're going to be decorating the mousse with. For that, I'm going to be using some fondant and some gum paste. equal proportions of each, and then we're going to cut out some snowflakes and let them dry for a while. I sprinkled the bowl with some cornstarch and then I rolled out the gum paste fondant mix, and now we're going to start cutting out the snowflakes. Let me just drop it into the tray so that they can dry. We're going to add a little Christmas sparkle to this. For that, I'm going to put a little silver edible ball in it, but to make it stick, I'm going to use a drop of water as an adhesive, and then I'm going to place the silver ball and put it down with slight pressure. Now we're going to allow these to dry, and then we're going to use them to decorate our chocolate mousse. Now let's prepare the mousse. It's a very creamy and decadent dessert, but there are a few points to note when you're preparing a mousse. One is that you have to have all your ingredients at room temperature, because if any of them are cold, then your chocolate is going to solidify, and that's not going to be nice. Another I would suggest is putting the bowl in which you're going to be beating up your cream into the refrigerator ahead of time, so that when you go to beat the cream up, it helps to make it thicken up quicker. So I'm going to start by melting the chocolate. You can either do this on a double boiler or the cheat way of putting it into the microwave, and I'm just going to go with that, putting it into the microwave for 30-second increments at a time till it's nice and melted and smooth. So I'd used 250 grams of white chocolate chips, and I used the Belgian white chocolate chips. These are really good ones. I use them in my cookies, in my cheesecakes, and even in my mousses. Now I'm going to keep this aside to cool for a bit while I now use the eggs that I have to go into the mousse. I'm using 6 eggs and I've separated them already, and I'm first going to use the egg yolks and cream them up with 50 grams of confectioner's sugar or icing sugar. Now that I've put the egg yolks and the icing sugar in a bowl, I am going to whisk it up till it's light and creamy. So that's what we are looking for, nice and pale. I've transferred the egg yolks and the icing sugar into a transparent bowl so you can see what I am doing. Now I'm going to be adding the Bailey's Irish cream to the mixture. I'm going to put 1/4 cup of Bailey's Irish cream. And 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence. Now we're going to give this a little mix. And to this, now that the chocolate has cooled down, we can add the chocolate in it. And give that a nice mix. Now we can keep this aside and deal with the egg whites. We're going to mix the egg whites to a soft peak, and then we're going to fold it into the chocolate mix. Now I've put the 4 egg whites into this bowl, and I'm going to whisk them till I reach soft peaks. So we're looking for soft peaks like this. We're not looking to make a meringue, so this is just right. Now we're going to take the egg white, and we have to fold this in very carefully so that we do not deflate any of the air bubbles that we have created in the egg white. Just in one motion. Now I'm just adding a little more of the egg white because you don't want to do it all at one time. It's better if it's done in small portions so it mixes more evenly. Now the egg white has got very well incorporated into the chocolate and the egg yolk mixture, and we're going to keep this aside while we whip up the fresh cream. I've kept this bowl in the fridge to chill overnight so that it's nice and cold and would help to thicken the cream when I whip it in it. Now I'm putting 375 ml of fresh cream. This is the whipping cream, which is like 35% fat content. And I'm going to whip this up. So this is nice and thick. Now we're going to fold the fresh cream into this mix, and again we're going to be very careful not to overmix, otherwise we're going to have the cream going flat. Again, as I said, just in one direction. Now we're going to put a little more of it. We're going to do this in parts so that it's easier to mix in. Now we put the last of the whipped cream into the mix, and we've got a lovely smooth mixture. I pour the mixture into this Pyrex jug so that it's easier for me to pour it into the glasses. I am going to be using these very cute cocktail glasses, and I'm going to fill it up just about 3/4 so that we have place to decorate it later on. I poured the mousse into 4 of the glasses, but I've got plenty more, and I'm sure you'll get about 8 to 10 depending upon the size of your glass. Now we're also going to take a spatula and just even out the top. This is actually optional because we are still going to decorate it on the top. And I'm going to cling wrap each one so that they don't dry up, but they set well in the refrigerator. Now we're going to have to refrigerate this for at least 5 hours, but I think overnight would be best. Now that the mousse has set, we're going to decorate it. I'm going to use a dollop of fresh cream and use the snowflakes that we had made earlier now that they have dried up. And there we have it, our Let It Snow Bailey's white chocolate mousse. I hope you enjoyed these desserts this holiday season. Subscribe and hit on the bell icon to get a notification every time I upload a new video. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram. The information is in the description below. A very Merry Christmas to you and your family. And I'll see you soon with some wonderful ideas to ring in the new year.